All right, today we're going to discuss detailing for the low block. So when we first teach the low block, we want a student to really kind of just basically understand the basic movement of it and not really get into all of the nitty-gritty details of how to perform it properly. That comes later, so that's right now. We're going to discuss the low block in full detail here. So let's, I want you to, if you're able to, go ahead and follow along with me on the screen here. I'm going to raise what will be for you the left arm. When we practice the low block, we want to make sure it starts from the opposite shoulder. And notice the hand position here. I want to turn it so that it looks like a cup sitting on top of my shoulder. The other hand then is going to extend, and you're going to notice the elbows come together here so that there's no space to get between these two arms here. This arm, the one that's not blocking, is what's known as framing. This is my framing arm. It has two distinct things it's going to be doing, really three. First, it's going to be protecting my center a little bit, but secondly, two most important things, it's going to point the angle and the direction. So the angle is down, but the direction is 45. Therefore, if I were to have my hand like this, it would be incorrect, because I'm not blocking here, I'm blocking over here. So as I start to do the block, I'm going to frame the technique out, and I'm going to bring this one down. Imagine this being like a road and this being a car. It's going to travel the road, and then at the very end it's going to snap. Now this hand is going to be doing the very same thing, just in the opposite order. So as I start to push this one down, this one's going to pull back until they both at the last moment create a little snap. And then this is going to be anchored up very high on my ribs, and this one should be down approximately a fist to a fist and a half above my knee and just to the outside of it. All right? So this is going to be from here to here, and exhale strongly. So we breathe the way we want to move. So in order to get the 3 C's, which are clean, crisp, and clear, to get that second one crisp, we want to put a little short, snappy breath to that. So that'll be like this, and the other hand is pulling back as if striking behind. That could be what's going on, but there's a lot more the reasons for doing that. So just for now, just imagine using it to strike behind you, and you'll get the technique correct. And, okay. So let's try it from the other side. Now we're going to raise our right arm. It'll go on the left shoulder. The framing arm, in this case will be the left arm, is going to go across the body. And notice how there's no space here. And this is going to be here versus here. The thumbs are going to be on the first 2 knuckles here instead of out here or hidden in here. And then as we block, I'm going to go very slow again. We start to bring down, and then this one pulls back, and then they twist at the end. Very important to get that twist in there. All right, now, what I want to do next is I'm going to travel toward the camera, and I'm going to be using a front stance. So in order to properly get the rest of the pieces in place here, we have to incorporate our waist and our shoulders. So the way that we do that is as I start to frame, I'm going to bring my foot together here in what's known as a closed cat stance. So from the side, it looks like this. All of the weight is in the back leg, and the front foot just barely touching the toes to the floor. This is a transitionary stance, and I'm going to be using that to step into my front stance. So as I start to frame for the low block, this is coming up, and then I'm turning my body at a 45-degree angle. Now this here has to go there because that's where my block is going to end up. And as I step out, I'm going to step out in what's known as a C step. It's going to create a letter C with the heel, and I'm going to keep this knee bent as I do that. 1, 2, and that's what turns my waist and everything back into position. So at the very end of the block, we want to have what's called squared shoulders. Squared shoulders, your feet will be right underneath each shoulder, and the shoulders will be pointing this direction. So if I were to have a board across my back here, they would point to the walls this way. If one of them was like this is something you can do at home, moms and dads, with the kids. Have them assume their low block and see if their stance is not more like this, where one shoulder is pointing back to that direction, that's pointing back to that direction, which is okay for a brand new student. But as we get into our training, we want to get better. We've got to look at these little details and make it look just so. All right? So as we do this technique, we want to step up and breathe out, and then step out. Notice my squared shoulders and everything's pointing to the front. And I'm going to step up. Notice the hand comes across here. This one is up here, nice and tight. And one more time, I'm going to step up. And now if I turn around, I want you to focus on my head. It stays level. As I move down the floor, I'm staying level. I'm not getting up and down. All right, so I'm going to turn, closed cat stance, step out. And notice how I turn the waist and the shoulders. And now I turn them back. So it's important to relax before you block. Inhale. And if I turn around, same thing. And now notice when I turned around, I was here, but then before I'm blocking, I'm going to turn a little bit away so that I can really get that waist into it. Right? And then notice also the feet at the end of the stance, the positioning of my feet. These are two things that commonly happen. Number one, this happens. Never let that happen to your stance. Make sure your foot is always pointed straight forward or just ever so slightly, like 1 degree inward. Back foot. Here's a big mistake a lot of students make is they'll turn their foot like this. Or they'll bend the knee like this, thinking that they're in a front stance. So that's the idea. We want to try to really focus on getting a good, clean front stance and a good, clean, proper low block. So that's some of your details. There are some others, but those are, for the most part, those are the main ones. And you want to practice these or have your children practice them from time to time. And you can just monitor to see if what they're doing looks like what I'm doing here. If you really want to supercharge their abilities, film them from the same angle and direction that I am at right now, and put the two side by side, and you can see what's missing from one to the other. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to film some additional videos for you.